welcome everybody to the August 5th timeline jumping Q&A. I'm going to have to put these on. That's a little better. Okay, so just to get straight into it, we're going to primarily focus on how things have been going for you since joining and starting timeline jumping. And I'm sure many of you can easily relate to the fact that the only real hindrance to getting the absolute most and transformative change out of timeline jumping and all its tools is simply the busy life and getting around to actually using the tools. Okay. And certainly for the majority, that's the only real challenge. Of course, some of you are very dedicated and really have put in the time, but, that tends to be 20% of course members, the old 80-20 rule there, always seems to apply. So we're going to quickly go through everybody and just, regardless of whether you've been able to do all the tools by now to all the way through week 9, or whether you've barely managed to use the first 2 or 3 tools, don't be, I don't know, I suppose embarrassed or even annoyed that you haven't had a chance to use all the tools. It's totally fine. You're still in the now, the future, and the opportunity to use all the tools and use them fully, make the most out of all the tools. That's still ahead of you. So don't worry if you haven't been able to do a whole lot for the past few months since starting. And, share all the good and the bad. And I'll be answering and coaching you on all of that. And of course, you'll all be able to learn a lot and get a lot of value out of other people's examples and advice received. So again, it's all about getting that support to get you past what's been holding you back, to really unravel things for you. Is what it's all about. Let me see. I think I'll start off with I'll quickly start off with Roy. And you can, and in case any of you don't have a whole lot to say, and you're doing fine, you can certainly share the good in that case. Share anything positive. So we're going to focus on, well, not the negative per se, but any blocks, but also it's important to put equal emphasis on the positive that you have been able to achieve and experience. That's just as important as well. So, Roy, if you're busy at the moment, that's totally fine. I can move on to Pat, and you can always come in a little later or raise your hand. Remember, there's the reactions icon with that smiley face icon at the bottom. You can use later. So let me see. Okay, go ahead, Pat. You're unmuted.
Hi. Yeah, thank you. Well, the good is that I'm doing a lot of soul fragment retrieval. The reason I'm doing that is that I've found the short version helpful, and I'm still doing the MMS treatment for Lyme. It might be helpful to know that I've had this maybe for 73 years, or maybe just 36, or maybe both. You can get it more than once. So I do find that by the time I'm done doing 8 hours worth of that every day, I'm pretty beat. There's something about the process that I'm also needing sleep. So what I do is every morning I do the chakra exercise, and I do the soul fragment retrieval. And I must say, I've been fascinated with how many of them have to do with color and kind of a storyline that kind of, I don't know, puts me on some island, maybe Ireland or something, and it kind of has continued sometimes. So it's been fascinating. Um, but I really am doing the short version. So it's been almost 3 months that I've been doing the MMS, and um, I thought I was going to be trying to make a case to take another break, but he really doesn't encourage that, the author. And I did have one nice experience this past week. I was overly upset about something. I think the stars weren't right or something, but I went in the bathroom where I mix all this stuff, took it and walked out, and I felt better. And I had never
You felt
felt
what?
better.
Huh.
I was not so wrapped up in this thing having to do with neighbors or a water leak. I can't remember, but I'm, I'm very taken with that. But I have stretches where not much happens, and my ability to increase it is somewhat limited because I have a lot of indigestion with this. Today, it started to come back up on the seventh dose, so I'm struggling, but I'm doing it. I do walk a little better. I can walk a little further, but I am stamina challenged. My brain is challenged. And that's part of the issue, is that working on it's a fairly complex protocol. I think maybe you've done it or your partner, but for me, it's challenging to follow all those steps. So, um,
Steps regarding taking the MMS, just to clarify.
yes, yes,
Yep.
yes. And um, I've done the the leg baths. I can get up to my knees. I can't get in and out of a tub because of my knees. I did that once, and I almost stayed in the tub, but I got out. Um, but I do want to ask, is it your thought that what is it? Starts with an M, the clay that you recommend, um, do that with the MMS? I'm not clear about that.
Uh, Basically, yes.
Okay.
The magnetic clay bath, it really helps
Yes.
pull out toxins and heavy metals, especially,
There
which
is
we're all. Go ahead.
there he he certainly is into that, but he's into doing it with the active ingredient in the water. And I can combine those things.
Okay. Well, if he advises it, then chances are it's a good idea. Which
I
active
don't
ingredient?
Okay, so the active ingredient is the MMS, and I see him recommending that, but I don't see him recommending a clay bath at the same time.
Yep, understood. Clay bath. No, he may not necessarily know about it.
Okay.
The clay bath. It is simply for those of you who don't know, it's called magnetic clay bath. It's magnetic clay, basically a brown beige powder that you pour into a hot tub after you blend it, and it pulls out metals, anything of a magnetic nature in particular, iron oxide, nanites. It pulls them out much faster. And because things like MMS or any form of detox makes you detox and therefore feel pretty bad and pretty crabby, doing magnetic clay bath once a week initially really helps in a big way. In fact, I've got one scheduled for today as well. I haven't done it for months. And just anything that complements detox, especially various forms of metals that are being deactivated and removed, because there's all sorts of external type factors that have been placed on the planet that produced, for lack of a better term, or manifested implants and nanites of various kinds. And because they're being removed externally, they're starting to detox internally. And this is one of the causes of the crazy fatigue a lot of us have been feeling in recent weeks and months. So do what you can, Pat, to
Okay.
complement with regards to the clay bath,
Okay.
to complement the MMS. All right, there's activated charcoal capsules you can take to help with that. If you can't submerge yourself in the bath, many of you know that there's dozens of ways to detox. They're just
He's
two ways.
he's pretty much death on supplements. I went for a month without them, but then I was just dragging around. So I've started,
Well,
and I tried at 4 in the morning, which is he recommends just change your routine. But anyhow, I am struggling, but I am working it. So
yeah. Thanks for reminding me. He does say don't take supplements. Let me see. When you take supplements, wait half an hour before taking MMS. No, I got that the other way around. If you do take supplements, you have to wait for 2 hours before taking MMS.
yes, and
And
that's the challenge. By that
yeah,
time, by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's then 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I need to also take care of my sleep. So I'm not sure what I'll do, but I'll keep trying to find a way through. And I
well, you
appreciate
take
your
it.
support.
Yeah, you take your supplements before or after that 8 hour period.
Right, right.
Okay. And if you take MMS, you have to wait half an hour
Before you eat.
before taking a supplement. Okay. And if you take the supplements, you have to wait 2 hours before taking MMS, just to clarify. We just know, Pat, that most people, I have some friends, associates that have been feeling crazy fatigue. That is also because most of you are Cobra followers here as well. The physical biochips, they do manipulate and create neurochemicals and biochemicals that produce fatigue and sleepiness. Okay,
Wow.
that's going on as well. So all this sort of garbage is kind of coming to a head with the 144K mass meditation group. We're trying to accelerate that process so we're not putting up with it for months on end,
Yes.
but only a matter of weeks is the goal. So, as always, context. Okay, keep the context in mind, and it's just a difficult time. That's just the nature of occupation and the war that it takes to end that occupation. Suffice to say, we're close. For those of you who follow me on through the 144K communications, and we soldier on. Okay. And going back to soul fragment retrieval, I understand where you're coming from there, Pat. It is quite a fascinating experience, especially when you feel lighter as well as a benefit after each soul fragment retrieval. Are you finding, that your rational mind is kind of just starting to get used to it. Is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it's become, you start to be more like a professional remote viewer, where it's just kind of like another day at the office. And, you know, are you finding that as well, Pat?
Uh, almost. I think I understand what you're saying, and I'm not. At first, I think I was pretty. It was daunting, and then I just said, "Okay, I'm using my imagination, and I think that's what I see." So I go with it. So
Well, good on you, because yeah, from the adult mind's perspective, it feels like you're just going on faith, and that's the starting point. Until that one moment where you do it, you manage to pull it off, and you feel significantly better. Okay, in many cases, completely different, and that's when the adult mind is sold. You know, it knows it's real. This is legit, and I'm talking from experience. Okay, um, so let go from the adult mind perspective with its conditioning and rigidities. Let go and just keep on going. Set it aside and don't think, so to speak. All right.
great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Good on you. And good on you for sticking with it. Let me see. Go ahead, Roy. You're unmuted.
You just sent me a message, the thing that said unmute, and I unmuted. I didn't actually have any questions at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. I just want to give you a chance to chime in with anything, if you had a chance to do things on a somewhat consistent basis, and or not, whatever it is that you had to share. Feel free to do or comment. Feel free to do so. Otherwise, I can just move on to the next person.
Okay, moving on to the next person. If I come up with something, I will unmute again.
Fantastic. All right. See you in a bit. Where's the mute button? There we go. Okay. Let me see. Miguel. All right. Go ahead and unmute Miguel if you're there. I'll go ahead and say hi. You're unmuted.
Yes, here.
Yep, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, for me, it has been fantastic. Since I've been trying the patches, wearing them, and they really bump you up on a better timeline. They protect.
Let me put my headphones on, Miguel. Hold on.
Okay.
So I can hear you better. Let me see.
You there?
Yep. Just want to stick these on. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, as I was saying, it has been very good to me. The process that we follow. I try on all the patches, and they help me. They boost me up. I feel protection over the symptoms of the substantial anomaly. Kind of help to reduce. I I started experiencing some things, and I would like to have some confirmation from your side. For example, one other thing is, I want to say that subquantum anomaly has completely gone on my side, but this is still some, not much. I'll say 5% still remaining. As far as my experiences, last time meditation we had last Monday, it went pretty good, and that same day at night I had some visions of the I don't know if it was the Confederation, the Intergalactic Confederation. I saw some beings. I couldn't see them really well, but I kind of I kind of saw them. It was a huge gathering, and they were dressed, celebrating. I saw a being of erecting people, and it was the form of a human and a lion face. But the other ones were more, I don't know if it were the Pleiadians, or I want to say it was the Pleiadians. Oh, it was a galactic group united. And my traveling into the, for me, was kind of meditation, but it was kind of long, and I was able to see those images. To me, looked like it sounded like a celebration, and
Fantastic.
The support anomaly went very much, like I said, compared to weeks before, it went like 5% gone. I mean, 95% gone. My vision is still. I experience only images and situations very clearly, but they don't last long. It's just like a passing view. I'm starting to have more connection with chai energy, and for some reason when I go through kind of sort of meditation, I have I find myself traveling through the chi energy, and I found in the middle of like if it is the universe, but it's not the universe. It's all surrounded by chi energy, and then I start having experiences or dreams into places. It kind of drives me towards a spot in the field of the chi energy, and it draws me into it, and then I have interaction with like beings, human beings, galactic. I don't know. I would say galactic. I don't know if it is and this is the confirmation I would like to have from you, if it is holographic, because it's like a dream. You might go and kind of have interactions with them. I don't know if it is my family or beings that live in a different galaxy or planet, or or if it's just a holographic dream that I'm
Well,
experiencing.
it's a form of contact, whether it's actual, non-physical contact. And when they happen, do your best to hold your focus to receive whatever they may have to give to you, whether it's some sort of communication, a message, or giving you codes or clearing something, whatever it is. You just try to hold your focus. Whenever that happens, you'll want to,
Yeah.
and when that does happen,
I'm sorry.
and when that does happen, great, receive what they have to receive. I would still put most of your time and energy and priority on things like soul fragment retrieval and your internal healing, because until the physical biochips are removed, they can detect non-physical contact of one form or another with any off-world beings. And, they manipulate, play games, fire up, whatever, to suppress that and push your frequency down. So to keep things stable for you, okay, when it happens, off-world contact of whatever form, when it happens, great, receive what they have to give you. But other than that, put most of your focus and time on healing yourself,
I
at least until the biochips are removed.
Yeah,
which is soon.
Anyway, so when I'm through it, or I'm going through, I hear conversation. Like today, this morning, I'm sorry, last night, I had like a very clear energy forming as a face as a boy, and he was talking to me. I was not hearing him. He I read his lips, and what I could what I kind of deducted from reading his lips, because he was trying to talk to me. He, the word I made up for it was grandpa. I don't know, but I kind of hear some words there, and I know what you mean. I exercise care. That's why I wanted to confirm with you about it, because we're not done yet. I've been doing the ICB, and it's been helpful. And I see a lot of entities or energies when the program starts, or at the beginning, some of them, I see them flying away or moving away through the whole session. It just bounce me up. It helps me out too. I've been doing it every week. Or at the beginning, I did it 2 weeks in a row, and then I let it go for 2-3 weeks.
And that's okay.
But so far, I'm able, the energies that were blocking anomaly has been improved a lot since our last meditation. I don't wanna say completely gone, so there is still some.
Yeah.
But I heard that a lot of dark entities were dealt with, and a lot of them also went away, escaped through the portal, and we did a good a good job,
Yep.
and I feel happy
Okay.
about it.
Yep. All right. Let's bring this back to the timeline jumping course. And this goes for everybody. It's okay to take, a couple of weeks off. If you've been doing this for like 6 months, okay, but just make sure you get back into it. Especially watching the teams and yourself participating in clearing and optimizing your chakras. I do that religiously once a week. It really helps with the chi flow. It really helps with balance and stabilization and calmness. It's just as important as balancing the two hemispheres of your brain through meditation or brainwave entrainment audio. So do your best to stick to that weekly practice, and just keep on doing it, because although it's been the stuff that are being cleared off the planet, the so-called external, has gotten, pretty crazy and desperate and intense. That's the way it normally is when something big is coming to a head and about to be cleared. It tends to get louder at the last moment before it's cleared, and it's a classic case of stick with it. Okay, and just appreciate that you're doing this within the overall backdrop of very intense clearings of the planet, which, makes things harder, but well worth it in the long term. So thank you, Miguel, for, I suppose, informing us that things have improved when it comes to the subquantum anomaly. And I better move on to the next person now. So thank you, Miguel.
Oh, you're welcome.
And let me see. I'm never able to find the mute button for the person that I'm talking to. Okay. I think we'll move on to Zoe. Okay. Bear with me while I find the mute button. Okay, let's try this. Here we are. Okay. Bear with me, everybody, while the games are being played with Zoom.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Zoe.
Okay, good. The mute worked.
Yeah. Okay, looks like... Oh, there we go. No, he's got dropped down. I keep on looking for a person's name, and he keeps on dropping up and down the list of participants. Okay, that's good. That's muted. Okay, go ahead, Zoe. I found what I... Yeah, the list of names keeps on jumping up and down.
Okay.
Which made me hard to click mute and unmute. So anyway, problem solved. Go ahead. How have you been?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, good, I guess. I think
Yeah,
maybe,
under the circumstances, right? With the
yeah, under the
craziness of
circumstances.
with the
In between all the
planetary
weirdness.
energies. Yeah.
But I think maybe the best thing, or what I've noticed most out of doing the practices for the last, well, whenever we started, the last few months, is I think I'm like trusting my intuition more instead of realizing that, or like trusting anyway, that what I can see in my third eye is real. And
Yeah.
and the impressions that I get, they're they're actually real. It's not just some figment of my imagination, which
Yeah, I know what you mean. And that's great. Quite often that's the biggest and only real breakthrough that people need to be able to truly receive that acceptance at a deeper level, subconscious level, that, this is perfectly real as the chair that I'm sitting on,
and it does kind of change
because
everything. Yeah.
that's right. There's always that base program in our subconscious mind in terms of matrix programming of that's centered around, what's real, what's not real. Real, the subconscious mind, as vast as its complexities is, still thinks in terms of very core basic programs. So, as example, real, not real. Okay. And as you, with a bit of experience and initial faith that you have to run on, the mind starts to get, or the subconscious mind starts to get reprogrammed, and from not real to real in terms of what it associates as real. And emotion is that energetic charge that takes something that is real from the not real category and puts it into the real. So the biggest memory that I have where I did a soul fragment retrieval that placed everything at a deeper level from the not real to the real category at the subconscious mind level was, back in early February 2011. Something bad happened, and because of the associations in my mind with X, so an event or X was bad or wrong. Okay, so in that case, loneliness. Losing the only person in my life at the time that truly understood me, and was able to help me. My mind reacted with, that is bad, and darkness saw that opportunity, jumped all over it, and greatly amplified for all intents and purposes, a simple fear into an extreme emotional charge. Okay.
Mhm.
So a negative emotion drastically amplified times 100, it felt like. So from a simple fear, it turned it into panic. So past anxiety. And I went up to the teams, and this was where I didn't know soul fragment retrieval just yet, and this is how I discovered it. I went up to the teams, managed to stick with it, remain composed enough, did a whole heap of clearing of a whole heap of dark stuff that I saw. And then at that point, I was trained to see myself in a past life situation, but I didn't know soul fragment retrieval at the time. And then when I saw myself in that past life bad situation, I just, quote unquote, got the idea, in other words, received the intuitive messaging to turn that former incarnation, turn it all white, so it looked like a white light body, and raise me up into my soul. And that it was only then that the extreme panic pretty much disappeared. It disappeared to a 99% degree or 98% degree. And I say that because that remaining 1 or 2% trace, which was still noticeable, was still there only because of the physical biochemicals that got created from the panic. Okay. So at a physical biochemical level, there was, that trace amount still there. And anyway, but because that was such an emotional experience, you had a major emotional charge to it, where it was a night and day difference. That's what drastically and instantaneously took the not real program or belief around this sort of work and slammed it right into the real part of the category of that subconscious program, because there was an emotional charge to it. Okay. So it just goes to show that any really bad situation, if you handle it right and do something about it, be proactive about it, yes, it can be the best thing that ever happened to you, as we've often heard in those old metaphysical personal development type stories and examples. So another way to put it is the worse a situation is, or a given something is that pops up, has the equal and opposite potential of it being extremely good. And therefore not to fear that. So emotional charge that does a fair bit to move this sort of work from the not real category into the real category, as far as that base subconscious program is concerned, is the main point I'm making here. Okay. So anything else you want to add, Zoe? And I know what I'm just telling you makes sense and it's easy for you to intellectualize with it, but obviously quite another to actually experience such a thing, where you use the energy of emotion to really transform a false belief. Okay.
Yeah,
and
it's tough.
Sorry?
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. It is tough when you're embroiled in something, but that's where the rational mind is often forced to let go, because it's kind of at its wit's end. Okay. And in those sorts of situations, again, talking from experience, you just clear. Half the time you don't know what you're doing, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But when the rational mind is at its wit's end, kind of gives up is not the right word. Lets go is a better word. Let go and let God, whatever your preferred expression is. Quite often that's where the best and biggest breakthroughs and discoveries are made, because you're past that personal boundary. And again, some of the best energy work that I've done, especially with grid work, for example, my rational conscious mind didn't really know what it was doing, but it's going to seem or feel that way when you're letting go, doing what simply comes to you, or quote unquote through your imagination. That's where you tend to channel your soul and its vast powers and knowledge. And that's what your soul likes to see you do. Well, not you do, because you are your soul. This downstream encapsulated embodiment like to do. Okay. Again, nothing like experience.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm giving you mental reference points, which does help. Okay, but you still got to practice it. So, when you do a simple 30-minute soft fragment retrieval, have a go at quote unquote playing around, but from a steel centered and neutral mindset, and just through use your imagination if you have to. I shouldn't use imagination, really. Use your right hemisphere brain that is non-linear in nature, to just do what your adult left hemisphere brain will perceive as, I don't know what I'm doing, and clear like crazy. That's gotten me out of some tight spots. When the proverbial hits a fan, it kind of forces you to be in no time, in a very now moment, because you're so embroiled or locked into a given whatever situation. Yeah. I won't add any more information than that, but being in that place where you think you don't know what you're doing, or you perceive, again, from the adult mind level, that you don't know what you're doing, typically that's quite often where the breakthroughs are, if you just hold that point of attention. Okay. Because they did, in order for internal darkness, I guess, sometimes external, to hide things from you, it detracts your focus by not holding your focus and being just lost in the now, so to speak. Or it makes your rational mind just question too much by amplifying the conscious mind need to know what you're doing, when at the conscious adult mind, you don't necessarily always need to know what you're doing.
Mhm.
Okay. It's more about being the silent witness in that, and lost in that now moment, and just holding that focus.
Yeah.
Being neutral, with a neutral mindset as possible. Okay. And holding that focus. That's the other trick. And these are natural abilities, perfectly natural abilities. It just takes a bit of practice and training, and brainwave entrainment audios always helps, to keep at it. It's a form of exploring, really. Yeah, and just watch within stillness and neutrality, and not knowing what you're doing. When your right or your soul, that you start to channel, when you hold that focus and lost in that now moment, you're able to better channel your soul. It knows what it's doing. The rational conscious mind can interpret later, and often it does understand things later. Okay. And just watch things being cleared out of you. See yourself at a distance, holographically. Watch, whatever, work with whatever colors or background colors comes to you, because your higher mind and your soul already knows what to do, what to clear in, and let alone the teams. For us, it's more about letting go, knowing that this is real, and just holding that focus, and allow your adult mind to feel I don't know, a sense of nervousness over, I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on. Let it, don't have resistance to that per se. Okay. Yeah, that deeper meditative state and being there and staying there really makes a difference. And allow the adult mind to be okay with not knowing what it's doing. That's kind of like a little secret key to it all. Be okay with not knowing what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah,
All
those are
right.
reminders. Yeah,
Go
thank
ahead,
you.
Zoe.
Oh, I just said those are all awesome reminders. Yeah, thanks. So
Yeah,
helps put everything in
yeah.
perspective.
Yeah. And hey, it sort of this, even the so-called best of us have to sometimes remind ourselves of that as well. Okay. Because of the degree of control and conditioning by the matrix. Okay. So keep at it. Keep at it. Thank you, Zoe. Okay, let me move on to Okay. Let's move on to Catherine. If you're there, Catherine, go ahead and unmute. Otherwise, I'll just move on to the next member. And again, for whoever hasn't had a chance to speak yet, let me know your progress, any frustrations or blocks, and any I don't know, positives that you have gained and experienced. Go ahead, Catherine. I think it sounds like someone's live. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next person. Okay. Catherine may be busy at the moment. That's okay. I'll move on to Michelle.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Michelle.
I don't really have a whole lot to report, but I have been doing the ICB. I'm trying to do one of those sessions per week. I've done a few of the soul fragment retrievals. I don't probably not doing that as much as I should. But then I've also got the phase 4 that I was doing prior to the timeline jumping course. So I've kind of was putting myself on a schedule of doing the phase 4, like maybe on a quarterly basis, because that's a 4-week thing. So I was like, if I do that quarterly, and then in between the other times, do the ICB maybe once a week. I do chakra clearing exercises. I try to do that several times a week. Every day is impossible, but I do try to focus on chakra clearing a lot. Then what was the other one? You had the pineal gland video.
Third eye system. Yeah.
Yeah, third eye system. I try to fit that in when I can. There's a lot of stuff. It's a lot to fit in, and time is definitely an issue. But I love all of the tools. I think I am making some progress. It's kind of like I don't know, sometimes 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. But I do. It's like a slow progression.
Gotcha. It is under these circumstances. Okay. Yeah. First of all, with the chakra clearing video, I believe that was video. Doing that once a week is enough.
Okay.
Okay. So cut that down to once a week, and good on you for doing it 2 or 3 times a week. That really moved you forward in a big way. So once a week for that is enough. And then once a week, either the soul fragment retrieval or ICB.
Okay.
Perhaps swap them out, alternate between the two. Okay. Focus on that for now. And try, if you can, try to wear the implant removal code. Okay, see if you can
Okay.
wear that if you're not already.
Yeah, I've kind of slacked on the codes.
Understandable.
That's the one I've had the hardest time keeping up with, is doing the codes. I still have some on, some water bottles and stuff, but I think that's even been the hardest to keep up with out of everything. But
Yep.
I'm also trying to do like detox baths, like 1 detox bath a week, because that's all I have time for anyways. But so I like the clay. I know you said before you got to really mix it up real well, because I ran into the issue when I just threw it into the bath water. It just balled up into a bunch of little balls and made a big mess everywhere. So that was quite a disaster.
Oh no, yeah, learning pains of doing something
Yeah.
new. So yeah, 4 cups, 4 half cups in the blender. And then you hit the pulse button on the blender and you fill it up 3/4 with the warm water from the bathtub. Put a half cup scoop in,
Mhm.
and then you put the lid on and you pulse it 5 times. And then you empty that into the bathtub, usually while it's running and filling up. Rinse it, and then fill it up with 3/4 of the bathtub water again, and then going through that process again 3 more times. And then staying there, preferably for 45 minutes with just your face above the water, so that your head is most submerged. 45 minutes of that really helps the metals and iron nanite detoxing that's going on these days for the collective. Okay. And
Also, can I ask you, I came across some information that was really interesting, having to do with hydrogen peroxide. And there's a whole protocol that they were recommending, of drinking some in water over a period of days, but then also you can take baths in it if you just put only that in the water. Do you know how that would detoxify compared to the magnetic bath? Is there any similarities, or what are your thoughts on the hydrogen peroxide?
so stuff like hydrogen, anything you take orally that's strong, such as MMS and hydrogen peroxide, sodium chloride, I think is the other ingredient in MMS. Gotcha, Pat. And yeah, so anything robust that you take orally, it's a good idea. But it's also an equally good idea to always complement it with some sort of detox that involves drawing out of the skin. Okay.
So you mentioned the charcoal pills earlier, and I
Activated charcoal.
Yeah, I did purchase some of that. I know it said to not take it for any longer than a week at a time, but how often do you think is a good, how often should you take it or do that?
Activated charcoal, I'll put that a little bit below the level of priority of a magnetic clay bath, mainly because activated charcoal is good when you're having trouble getting toxins out of the cells and lymph and whatnot, and myofascia and interstitial fluids between cells or whatever it is. It's only when you have trouble getting it out. Okay. But typically, and you're really feeling toxed out, sure, take a couple. But other than that, taking something like MMS or hydrogen peroxide and combining that with a weekly clay bath is typically enough.
Okay.
But some people have trouble detoxing, period, whether they've got lymph issues or whatever. Okay, then sure, add activated charcoal capsules to the mix. Other than that, you know, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I was going to add something. So by reducing your chakra clearing regime to once a week and then doing nothing more than, you know, soul-fragment retrieval and ICB, you know, alternatively, once a week as well. So you're doing real deal energy work twice in 1 week or each week. That's enough. Okay. Now, granted, we go through with one exception, and that is we all go through personal astrological periods where there's just a ton coming up. Where you're going through a very challenging astrological period per your personal astrology or birth chart. Then, yeah, you do soul-fragment retrieval or ICB every other day, you know, or even every day in some cases. So with that exception, doing alternating between soul-fragment retrieval and ICB once a week, and then adding the chakra clearing midweek, for example, that's enough. Okay. The codes, get all the DNA codes, okay, and start wearing them in your pockets or stick them on your feet. And let me introduce you to my foot. Okay.
All right.
Alrighty. So not the most glamorous presentation in the world, but believe me, goes a long way. That's the 3M elastic skin tape, which is better for the skin and more elastic. That's all you do. I got the other two on the other foot. Give that a go. Okay, you just take them off before you have a shower, put them back on after the shower. You know, it's a 5-minute process. Well worth it. You know, that's the next stage after just wearing them in your pockets or drinking from the water. Give that a go, because that also gives you, among other things, a bit of a charge, an energetic charge, as well as taking DNA strand activation to the next level. Okay, and that goes for all of you. Give that a go if you haven't already. So put those little action plans, action steps in place, Michelle, and we'll talk again in a couple of weeks or so.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead, Pat. You wanted to just quickly mention something.
Yeah, I did. In the MMS book, he's talking about for baths that if you're using tap water, that you can use borax to eliminate, I think, fluoride and chlorine. Much anecdotal evidence, not poisonous, similar from the chlorine as well. Use 2 rounded tablespoons of borax for a standard bathtub. Wait at least 15 minutes after stirring the borax into the water. Hot or cold is okay. Then add your MMS. So I noticed that, and I didn't know if you have a feeling about it. That's page 143 of the 1919 version.
Thank you. So this is for bathtub water. Is that correct?
Yes, or yeah, soaks. Yes.
Soaks. Okay. I haven't tried that. So by all means, give it a go if you haven't already. And do let me know how
Yes.
it goes. Yeah. It may take a couple of goes, a couple of baths to, confirm a given result or wait for a result, a significant enough result. Borax with the clay bath, I don't know if that would interfere with the clay or not. It could easily not. But yeah, let me know how you go.
Thank you.
Okay, and thanks for mentioning that. Even email me if it's more convenient that way.
Sure.
Awesome. Let me see. Catherine, I'm just gonna unmute you
Okay,
if you're there.
I am. I'm here.
You're there? Fantastic. Okay. Cool. How's it going?
It's been challenging. Actually, a
Yep.
friend of mine called me this morning out of the blue and said that he has discovered that there is a very powerful class of demons that is blocking communication with God.
Okay, so yeah,
And
okay.
and with our higher, God energies. And
It,
it's also blocking the ability to get rid of them. So, and he does theta healing. So it's going up to God, creator, and requesting that they be removed. And then you say, thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. But he was having problems getting rid of it. So
yeah.
I had to find the very specific request to remove, the demon's ability to block our ability to get rid of them.
Good. Yeah. Gotcha. All right. Well, good on him for having a go. Because again, it's hard to, even for the best of us, to get it right, at least the first time. So two things. Let's start calling the demons negative entities.
Okay.
Okay. To expand our, I suppose, paradigm a little bit more and broaden those boundaries. Does make a difference.
Yeah.
Have a go at do an ICB on this one, except when you go up there and you've been through the process of showing them this issue, including your friend who tried to get rid of them and is having trouble getting rid of them. Hit the pause button for about 5 or 10 minutes when you're on the healing table and watching and you're surrounded by the teams. And again, be that neutral, still, and centered witness. Okay. At a safe distance, so you're in way outside the quarantine sphere, you're safe. Surrounded by the teams that you can see on the opposite side. And do that. And so and just watch and take it from there. And from a rational mind perspective, be kind of adventurous. Okay. Just stay outside the quarantine sphere.
Yeah.
Okay. Be kind of adventurous is the best way I can, or you can hack your way past the rigidity and limitations of the rational adult mind and just work from your right hemisphere brain. And, remove labels and judgments, and that really helps. And don't try to let go of the need to understand everything in order for it to happen.
Right.
Okay. And just watch.
Yeah, just allow.
Yeah. Allow. Yeah, that's a term that obviously works better for you. After that, and then do a simple soul fragment retrieval process. Okay. So in other words, 20 minutes later, you don't have to go through the whole ICB process, which is another 40 minutes. You can if you're drawn that way. But just be there in that deeper brainwave state. Get into theta, but being that neutral allowance kind of mindset and still. And simple soul fragment retrieval. And then do a verbal revocation. Okay. A little, maybe you'll want to print it out or write it out. Okay. And in the blank space, just add the words. Let me see. Where it says that I may have made, consciously or unconsciously, with these demons that are blocking my connection to God.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You add that into the blank space and, alter the grammar as you need. Okay. Because it's done in that generic fill in the blank format. And then follow the rest of it after you filled in the blank space. So there's the first blank space is your full name, and then the next blank space is around that I may have made, consciously or unconsciously, with these demons. Okay. Do that, sort out the grammar with that in a way that makes sense to you, and then you don't have to get 100% perfect. Print it out or write it out, have it next to you, and then go up to the teams and go through that process.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Because there's quite often vows or agreements or contracts or covenants or unconscious vows or curses by someone else from the physical or non-physical plane that may have been made by you or by someone else in whatever duress state in God knows what lifetime.
Right.
Or on a non-physical plane. Okay. So do that and let me know how you go.
Yeah, sounds good. All right.
Yeah, good on you.
Yeah,
All righty.
I'll just add one little thing. What they've also been leaving behind is pain causing pain causing substances or energy robbing substances or irritation causing substances or like alien infections or infection causing substances. Like they're leaving all this stuff behind in the body. So probably just making a statement about clearing each one of those.
With that, you'll want to do it in the next session or ensuing session, because that first session may solve the problem. Okay. If it doesn't, give it a week after the first session. If it doesn't, sure, go up again and then show the teams I suppose symptoms, whether it's emotional, mental, or physical. Stick us up in a quarantine sphere, and you can just do this with the amalgam.
Okay.
see yourself holographically and wherever, and see where those so-called substances are,
Mhm.
and transmute them through the white light process. All
Okay.
right. I'd recommend you do that next or after the first
Okay.
session.
All right.
Because you know, that could be an implant issue, we could be just an infection issue.
Yeah, and then they also they also put in various types of implants that cause pain. So
True, it could be an entity, various forms or kinds of entities that sometimes are amorphous, like a running smoky thing or a running fluid thing. You know, it doesn't look like an entity, but it's a perfectly conscious entity. But I would still do it the following session.
okay.
And after the first session, wear the implant removal code.
Yeah, I wear that all the time.
Good on you. Good on you. So one step at a time, and then you'll get there.
Okay.
Okay. Again, keep in context that it's just, especially the last 3 years, where things have, when it comes to the planetary liberation process, things have really come to a head in those final phases of complete clearing of all the non-physical, which is 99% of the work and picture. You know, with all that coming to a head, it's yeah, things have gotten louder, metaphorically speaking. So just keep that in mind and stick with it. We, you know, because we're close.
Yeah.
I know we've been told that before, but you know, it is what it is. We're close. I'm just trying to make it all happen by end of this month instead of end of October.
Yeah.
You know,
hooray.
so yeah. Don't worry. Again, war is hell. That's the nature of it. So we're doing pretty well, all things considered.
Yep.
You know. All right, let me pop over to, who haven't I? Harold. All right. Harold, if you're not driving about, go ahead and unmute. And Pat, I'll get to you pretty soon. And okay, Harold, you super soldier, you.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Now I can.
Okay, there we go. I'm working right now, so it's kind of touch and go.
Yeah.
Hey,
good to see you.
I didn't know I called you, but hey, since you're here, I was always wondering, you talk about doing individual, like soul fragment retrieval, always is it? I can't, I forget to do it. The only thing that really works for me is like when I do the 4 phases of the ICD or whatever it is, internal compression, whatever.
Internal compression
But
breakthrough.
it only works when the heart are involved. Then I get results.
All right. Keep on doing that. As long as you're doing that, you know, at least once a week, you're inevitably going to reach the timeline where that real underlying thing is going to be discovered and removed that just keeps on screwing with you like nobody's business.
I think I might know what it is. I've had this really strong impression. Whenever I view my I am presence, there's a dark entity on its right, just by its head, and that has something to do with an AI that's in a physical chip, in physical biochip or something. Nothing's going to happen until the biochip's gone. So I'm just not going to worry about it.
Well, still have a go at transmuting it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
she'll have a go.
nothing's worked. The heart hadn't done nothing. It's just kind of like
Yeah.
a waiting game.
It's probably because you were in the 20 and back, you'll have extra physical stuff, whether it's physical AI, black AI goo, whether it's more specific sort of physical implants, because again, you were a super soldier in the 20 and back. That's an extra layer of.
Well, I get
Very,
screwed with
very-
a lot, and well, the thing that bothers me most is this: I'm just completely disconnected. I'm just like, damn, you know.
Yeah, well, that's because that program, even whether it's at the DNA level, microchip, biochip, black AI goo, all of them at the physical level, which is kind of a bit of a different animal. You know, from your SSP past, you know, that sort of that takes kind of a psychokinesis and some external help to nail it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you do have psychokinesis. If you have psychokinesis, you can get a grip on the effort. But part of the reason why your higher self is sort of, I don't know, in a sense, letting it ride is because it's waiting for you to get to that point, both in your personal timeline and frequency, as well as planetary timeline, where you can nail it when it is safe to do so.
Yeah, that's what I was saying exactly. It's just like something else has to happen before I can get connected again.
Yeah, because God knows it's not because you don't have the ability. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been drafted into the 20 and back.
Hey, I'm delivering. Could you like wait maybe 30 seconds here?
Sure. But
Well,
hold that thought.
give me. Well, I'm just give me. I'm like, oh, keep talking. I'll tell you when I gotta stop.
Yep, no worries. So, first step is one by one kind of way. You can do it all in one go in one ICB session. Otherwise, do it one by one in separate sessions. Soft-framing retrievals.
I mean, like address that specific thing in a what you were talking about.
That actually comes next.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey, how are you?
Let me just check in with Pat quickly.
Hello, how are you? Oh, really? Go. Oh, go. How are you? Nice meeting you.
All right. He's obviously gotten to know his clients. He's delivering pizzas too.
Go.
All right, Pat. Harold, if you can hear me, go ahead and mute just for a moment.
Okay, good.
Pat, let's have a go at hearing you if you got an extra question.
Oh my God. Okay, you come here. Hard enough in the concrete.
Okay. Let me just there should be a way I can mute Harold. Pin, make host, rename. Report, make host. Okay, interesting. Okay, I can't mute Pat, which is strange. No, I can't mute him. Alrighty. Now I should be heard. Ask to unmute and lower. Go ahead, Pat, if you can hear me.
I did, yeah. So I just wanted to say, I had a couple of amazing so-called coincidences recently, and that seemed to me like a form of communication. So when you talked about us being able to see or hear or sense others out there, I just want to encourage others in this group to maybe consider that as well. I had a cousin on the French coast in the Mediterranean. He lives in Oregon. My neighbor from California was at the same table the same day as my grandfather's, our shared grandfather's birthday, both named Ed. Same day my husband called the Cleveland Clinic. My grandfather practiced in Cleveland, Ohio, and my husband was calling to get an operation at the Cleveland Clinic. It was one of those coincidences that if it went much longer, I don't know what I would do, but jumping out of my clothes. So anyhow, it was great.
Yeah, that is wonderful. So that's synchronicities, or so-called coincidences, and there's no such thing as coincidences, as
Right.
George Norrie used to say, which is very true. That's kind of like the equivalent of seeing number synchronicities, where you're really aligning with your soul path and its potential. You're really returning back more and more to your soul, or more of your soul's coming more into you. And that sort of thing is happening. Ultimately, it means alignment. So it means you're doing well and really making progress, is another way to put it. Okay. So yeah, it is awesome when that happens. It's so that's great, and thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me just quickly check in with Harold. Oh, this thing keeps on jumping around. All right, Harold, just come on when you can. Caroline's iPhone, Caroline King's iPhone. Let's check on with the King. Go ahead, Caroline, if you're there. Go ahead and unmute. And if not, and I know quite often attendees are fumbling around trying to unmute themselves from more than one place, and yeah, there's the keyboard and then there's the screen icon on Zoom. So take your time, Caroline. I'm just going to unmute someone who hasn't put a name to their Zoom account. It just shows up as Zoom user. So I'm just going to bring you on and see how.
Hi, Jim. This is Jeannie.
Oh, Jeannie.
How are you?
How you doing? All right, so we'll just call you Jeannie Zoom user Perkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, how have you been?
Yeah, let me rename it. I don't understand why that happens a lot.
Just go into your account settings or something.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
sure.
changed
Oh,
it,
there
but
we
I
go.
don't realize that. Yeah, hold on. Hold on. I'm multitasking. Hold on. I'm trying to get in my phone. Okay, here I am. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't have anything to say right now.
Sure. Well, go ahead and you can just make a comment about how things have been going for you since starting or starting the Time I Jump In course, or if you've been able to use even half the tools or not. Just share anything to that effect, and I can still give you value.
Yeah. No, I'm just like my friend Lisa and I were just like very behind in the program, like just really behind. And we want to get back on track with it. We keep talking about it, but I'm just feeling like a little bit overwhelmed right now. And I feel like in the next 2 weeks, that's going to be the right timing for me.
Yeah,
So I'm trying
understood.
to absorb what I can right now. And, but I just feel like in 2 weeks is going to be a better timing for me. Actually, the end of the month, the last week
Understood.
of August.
Understood. Yeah, sometimes it's a timing issue, other times it's an interference issue, usually one of the two. You know, maybe you had to, it was more important for you to do certain other things first before getting into this. Sometimes that is the case. Of course, this has been a major transition year for you, clearly. Okay, especially in terms of relationships. And that's understandable. For now, just commit to printing out the codes if you haven't already.
Okay.
Just commit to that. Just do that much. Print them and laminate them. Especially the DNA activation codes and the implants codes. Okay.
Okay.
And if you can manage beneath that list the protection code. Okay. If you can, but definitely the DNA activation codes, and stick them on your water container or water counter container, whatever.
Okay.
Preferably clear glass if you can help it.
Okay.
You know, you can get something pretty easily and cheaply from Amazon. You know, like a 1 gallon, 2 gallon glass container with.
Yep.
Because and then stick them on the 4-inch by 4-inch. Stick them on there all around, or all at once will be fine, and just drink out of that.
Okay.
Okay. Just commit to that for now.
Okay.
All right, get that happening.
Okay. Yeah, because what I've been doing, what's been showing up mostly a lot the last month or so is a lot on the physical aspect. I've been having to take care of some like physical aspects. Like, you know, I showed up this is new. I have a positive ANA teeter. So they don't know, you know, like I'm having a lot of, I guess, inflammation, probably from the stress. And so, you know, like they're questioning whether it's like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus or, you know, long COVID or, you know, they don't really know.
Yeah. Physical symptoms. That's been a common problem as there's been severe detoxing going on, both collectively and for the whole planet. Sure, you know, get on top of that. Clay bath always helps.
Yeah, I just bought it while we were on the phone, actually.
Yeah.
From Amazon. I'll get it by Monday.
Awesome.
So how do you do that? Like,
oh look, there'll be YouTube videos about that, but the quick story is half a cup. Half cup full of the clay. Stick it in a blender. All right, that's 3/4 full of the bathtub water. So you do it while you're filling the bathtub. Okay. Add the half cup of clay, pulse it 5 times, so it's good and mixed. Then empty it in the bathtub. Rinse it, empty that, and then fill it with 3/4 full of bathtub water. Okay, then you go back to the blender and do the same process again. Stick another half cup of the clay. And pulse it 5 times, and then empty it in the bathtub. Rinse and repeat. 4 times. So 4 half cups is enough. Okay. And try to make sure you go to the bathroom before you lie in the water, because 45 minutes is a bit better than half an hour.
Okay.
Try to have most of your head submerged as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, obviously keep your face above the surface, unless you have super soldier abilities, and that you didn't know about. And
No.
you never know. You never know. Memories get wiped. And give that a go. Once a week initially is enough. That'll help with symptoms. Other than that, take anti-inflammatories. Go to YouTube and type in top 10 foods, most anti-inflammatory top 10 foods. I'm sure you'll find plenty. Dr. Berg is bound to pop up there.
Okay.
So do that as far as the physical 3D side of things is concerned.
Okay.
But drinking water from the codes, that'll really help.
Okay, great. Thank you.
When I started doing that, it seemed to give me my enthusiasm returned, a certain positive enthusiasm returned, even within the first 2 weeks. So yeah, really try to commit to that.
Okay.
For now.
Okay.
Okay, and then take things as they come after that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Big
Thank
hugs
you.
from Ada and I, and we'll talk soon, hopefully.
Okay.
And
Thank
get
you.
in touch. Get in touch anytime.
Thanks, Harold. I'm back.
Hold on a sec, Harold. All right. Catch you later, Jeannie. Talk soon. All righty. Harold is back. Or I heard someone.
I'm back.
Harold.
Yeah. I don't know what that was.
Sorry?
All those little kids. I don't know where that came from. I think flying through there.
Oh, maybe that was from someone else. But anyway, the kids are gone.
Yeah.
So just to finish off what I was saying, start off with simple soul fragment retrievals for all the traumatic experiences throughout your current incarnation, especially, the 20 and back, it's almost kind of like the double life that you never knew you had, only had glimpses of in so-called dreams. Really get on top of and complete the process of soul fragment retrieval on your 20 and back, but also back to when you were still in the womb. All right, because I start doing stuff to you, from before birth. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And they do that with special forces guys that were never in the SSP, just in the conventional military. And so you may see yourself as a embryo, at one point, whatever it is. And some of this will need to include, when you do a soul fragment retrieval, it often undoes a vow or an agreement or a covenant or a contract, because being a super soldier in the SSP is also based on a contract that you had, and you have to undo or revoke that contract. Okay.
I got a quick question. Like you were talking about being messed with, like in the womb. I was born a real teeny stillborn.
Right. Hold the mouthpiece a little bit closer to your mouth and lower your volume, lower your voice.
I was born like still early premature baby, and I was stillborn. Would that have something to do with it?
Whatever comes up, retrieve that soul fragment because it's still stuck there.
Okay, well that's the most
So
thing I can think of.
you don't necessarily have to consciously know and understand all the details.
Yeah.
If you're shown something, such as a particular implant or surgery done to you even while you were still in the womb, you'll want to retrieve the soul fragment.
Well,
Okay.
the only thing that comes to mind, like when I think of like being stillborn and preemie and all that, I was enraged that I had to come back here. That's all I can say. I didn't want to come back. I'm pissed off at you guys. That's the kind of what.
Well, because of what they did to you. So retrieve all those moments, those soul fragments of what they did to you. Okay. One thing at a time. Again, you don't have to fully understand every single thing, every single incident. If you just see yourself in some sort of even duress, let alone traumatic state, retrieve yourself out of there following the procedure. And then the following day or the following week, move on to the next one. Now, the reason why I say really focus on the soul fragment retrieval first is because that's kind of like the foundation or the baseline to ascending to the timeline where you able to nail that physical implant or physical black goo AI that screws with you so much. Okay, because you got to release yourself from all those past moments that you're still embroiled in.
Yeah.
Naturally ascend to that point where you got the sucker. Okay.
Well.
And that's that. You know.
Yeah.
One thing at a time. Again, practice that being in that neutral mindset.
Yeah.
Detached.
But start off doing soul fragment retrieval on that specific where I feel like I should start first and then go from there. I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Do what first?
Do a soul fragment retrieval on the very first thing that comes to mind about that incident, and then just kind of go from there. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
Because your higher self or your soul will naturally show you the next thing.
Okay.
And then the next thing. So you got to have a kind of neutral, non-judgmental approach to it. Be methodical and consistent with it.
Well, see, I've had lots of really intense dreams. My first dream as a little kid, it involved all that stuff. You know, it happened. God, I don't know how many times. I kind of would rather lump those all into one soul fragment retrieval. They're all the same.
Yeah, well, maybe you need to show that, but maybe you need to show that. You know, those intense dream experiences, because suffice it to say, they're not dreams.
They're like shock sessions, you know, where you get shocked. Yeah. Hundreds of times. Yeah.
Well, obviously, until an altar is created.
Okay.
You know? Okay. So, you know, get yourself out of there because you're still there.
Yeah,
remember,
I know.
Time. Yeah, time is simultaneous, not linear.
Hey, my boss is looking at me. I gotta go.
Yeah. All right. You know what to do next.
Okay.
Go for it. Listen to this recording if you have to, and go for it.
Okay. Thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. All right, talk soon. All right, I think I have everyone except Caroline King's iPhone. I'm just going to give Caroline a last go. And Caroline, if you're, you know, struggling with unmuting yourself for whatever reason, totally cool. You know, there's a lot of value, I guess, and lessons that everyone's picked up here on how to handle various situations. Plenty. And okay, Caroline, I see that you're unmuted. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, good. We got you now.
Yes.
Fantastic. How you doing?
Thank you, Jim. I'm doing great. I'm doing good. I just like to listen in. I don't have any questions or anything I wanted to ask, but I really want to thank you. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I love the meditations that we go on, and I love the work that you're doing, and I really appreciate you. And I just want to thank you.
No, thank you, Caroline. That is well received. Again, it's just hard times. You know, that's the nature
Yes.
of war. We need to understand and appreciate and remind ourselves of that. And so good on you. Thank you for that. And yeah, I do. Once the biggest and baddest stuff are cleared, at this point, it seems to be the subquantum anomaly and the biochips. Once they're cleared, I should be able to reduce the 144K meditations down to an hour. But, you know, they've been long because it's been needed and required and necessitated by such extreme and intense circumstances that we find ourselves in, that the plan that it is in. And once those two things are cleared, I should be able to reduce them down to an hour, and that'll help a lot. And thank you so much. And I'm glad you're getting a lot of value from this call. And good on you for being with us and participating.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, big hugs from all of us. And well, it's a great way to end this timeline jump in Q&A. So well done, everybody. Lots of value there, needless to say. And one thing at a time. Okay, one thing at a time. One foot in front of the other. We try to, guess we need to remind ourselves of that again and again. In spite of, especially because of the intensities. And I will see you all in 2 weeks. Yeah, I should be able to do this again in 2 weeks' time. Let me see. I may need to delay, but we'll see. Wonderful seeing you all on here. And till next time.
Yep.